The last thing I remembered was holding a cup of convenience store ramen and thinking, life may be short, but at least I've got extra spicy miso flavor. Then came the blaring horn. Then came the blinding headlights. And then, splat. Classic truck Kuan delivery service. Really? I groaned, floating in the void like a soggy noodle. This is how I go out? With ramen on my shirt and no girlfriend in sight. A polite ding echoed in the darkness. Congratulations! You have been reborn into your favorite romance manga. I blinked. Wait. My favorite romance manga? You mean Sweet Love High School? Eternal Blossoms? The one I binge read like a maniac. Yes. I gasped. Yes. This is my chance. I'll finally be the male lead. Girls will swoon, roses will sparkle, and... Correction. You have been reborn as Kenta Saito, the comic relief best friend. What? The void spun, and suddenly I was staring at a mirror. My reflection stared back. Goofy grin, messy hair, uniform a size too big. Not the brooding handsome hero with sparkly eyes. Not the smooth rival with perfect jawline. Nope. I was the guy who slipped on banana peels and shouted, "You two look so cute together." No, 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 I muttered, tugging at my ill-fitting blazer. This can't be right. I was supposed to be the hero, not the third wheel. A knock rattled my door. Kenta! Hurry up, we'll be late for school. A cheerful voice called. I recognized that voice instantly. Haruka Aizawa. The heroine. The sunshine of Eternal Blossoms. The girl every reader adored. The one destined to fall in love with the cool, stoic hero. I opened the door, and there she was. Glossy hair, big sparkling eyes, that impossibly radiant smile. Come on, Kenta. Don't make me drag you again. My jaw dropped. You're real. She tilted her head. Huh. I shook my head violently. Nope. Can't look suspicious. Blend in. Be the goofy best friend. For now. Right. Sorry. Haruka. I was just, practicing my dramatic entrance. I posed with a peace sign. Tada. She giggled. You're so silly, Kenta. Ouch. Straight to the best friend zone. We walked to school together, and with every step, reality hit harder. The gates, the cherry blossoms, the sparkling atmosphere. It was exactly like the manga panels. Which meant one thing. I knew the entire plot. And I wasn't about to let myself fade into the background. At school, the main event began. Enter Riku Kamiyama, the male lead. Tall, cool, handsome. The kind of guy who could make a girl faint by simply adjusting his tie. He walked past us, eyes half-lidded, posture flawless. Haruka blushed like she just witnessed an angel descend. And me? I had one thought. That's supposed to be my role. Okay, maybe not exactly. But why settle for comic relief when I had insider knowledge? If I played my cards right, I could steal the spotlight. Operation Hero Upgrade. Phase 1, I whispered. Step 1. Outshine the male lead. Spoiler. It did not go well. I tried leaning against the wall like Riku. Instead, I slipped on my untied shoelace and face-planted in front of the entire class. Laughter erupted. Classic Kenta. One student snorted. Even Haruka giggled. Are you okay? You're always so clumsy. My soul wept. Later, I tried a heroic rescue, when Haruka tripped over a loose step. Perfect setup. I lunged forward, arms ready to catch her, only for Riku to swoop in effortlessly, holding her bridal style while I landed on the pavement like a pancake. Her cheeks flushed. His gaze softened. My role? Flattened. As they shared a moment, I wheezed on the ground. Operation Hero Upgrade. Phase 1. Complete failure. Still, as I watched Haruka smile at him, I realized something both depressing and hilarious. Every time I tried to steal the spotlight, I only pushed the main couple closer together. And that's when it hit me. In this second life, I wasn't just a third wheel. I was the romance accelerator. And maybe, just maybe, that was the most powerful role of all. By lunchtime, I had already been hit with the cruel reality of my situation. No matter what I did, the universe seemed determined to keep me in my assigned role, the comic relief best friend. Case in point, when I tried to carry Haruka's books, I dropped them on my own foot. Twice. When I tried to lean coolly against the classroom door like Riku, I accidentally slammed it into my own face. And when I tried to give an inspiring hero speech in homeroom, I got interrupted by my stomach growling loud enough to shake the chalkboard. The class roared with laughter. Riku got admiring nods. Haruka gave me a pity smile and a rice ball. I swear the author is laughing at me from above, I thought bitterly as I nibbled my consolation rice ball in the corner. But I wasn't ready to give up. If the universe thought I was just the third wheel, then I'd prove it wrong. I had knowledge, dang it. I'd read this manga from start to finish, 3 times, with bonus chapters. I knew every twist, every misunderstanding, every accidental fall into the hero's arms trope. Which meant I could hijack the story. Operation Hero Upgrade, Phase 2, I whispered to myself, gripping my rice ball dramatically. If I can't outshine Riku by accident, then I'll steal the script directly. The perfect opportunity came during gym class. In Chapter 3 of the manga, Haruka sprained her ankle during volleyball. Riku swooped in, all protective and brooding, carrying her to the nurse's office. It was one of their first major bonding moments. Not this time. This time, I would be the savior. I stationed myself courtside, crouching like a hawk, ready to pounce. Every time Haruka lunged for the ball, I prepared to dive in, planning to accidentally catch her before disaster struck. Unfortunately, I miscalculated 2 things. Volleyballs travel faster than expected. My face is not, in fact, a shield. The moment Haruka tripped, I launched myself heroically, and immediately got smacked in the face by the ball. She landed lightly on her knees, totally fine, while I sprawled out on the court clutching my nose. The class erupted in laughter. Riku calmly stepped forward, offering Haruka his hand. "Are you okay?" She blushed. "Why yes, thank you, Kamiyama-kun." Meanwhile, my nosebleed painted the gym floor like a crime scene. So much for hijacking the script. Later that day, as I stuffed tissues up my nose in the nurse's office, Haruka peeked in. "Kenta, you're always so dramatic. You make everything feel like a comedy show." My pride whimpered. Comedy show? I was trying to be the leading man. Still, the way she smiled, bright, genuine, made something stir in my chest. Maybe she didn't see me as a love interest, but she noticed me. And in this world that was something. As she left, I sighed dramatically. Operation Hero Upgrade. Phase 2. Disaster. But Phase 3 will be my comeback. That evening, lying in my manga-perfect bedroom, I replayed the day's failures. The universe clearly wanted Riku and Haruka together. Every move I made just sped things up for them. I was the background clown, the accidental Cupid, the eternal third wheel. But as I stared at the ceiling, a grin crept across my face. Fine. If I'm destined to be the third wheel, then I'll be the greatest third wheel this world has ever seen. I'd meddle, I'd plot, I'd push the story off its rails, whatever it took. If I couldn't be the hero, I'd become something better. The chaotic god of romance acceleration. And maybe, just maybe, while helping everyone else find love, I'd stumble into a little of my own. By the time the next day rolled around, my strategy notebook was full of scribbles, doodles, and way too many arrows pointing to become hero. Operation Hero Upgrade wasn't just a dream anymore. It was a mission. Sure, my first 2 phases had failed spectacularly, but in manga, the third attempt was always the charm. Today, I declared to my reflection in the bathroom mirror, I steal the spotlight. Riku may have the jawline of a demigod, but I have something he'll never have, knowledge of the plot, impeccable comedic timing, and, moderate athleticism. The mirror dripped toothpaste foam onto my shirt in response. Phase 3 kicked off during morning homeroom. In Chapter 5 of Eternal Blossoms, Riku casually lent Haruka his umbrella during a sudden rainstorm, cementing his role as her mysterious protector. Naturally, my plan was simple. Beat him to it. I smuggled 3 umbrellas into school like a man preparing for a typhoon. Blue, pink, and one with ducks printed all over it. No matter what, Haruka would have to borrow one from me. Hero moment. Secured. And when the rain finally started at lunch break, I practically leapt out of my chair. Ah! Haruka, you must be unprepared. Worry not, for I, your ever-reliable friend, have an umbrella for you. She blinked. Kenta, you literally have 3. I struck a heroic pose, offering the duck-patterned one. This is destiny. Take it, and you will be safe. She hesitated, then smiled. Thanks, Kenta. You're always looking out for me. Victory. My heart swelled as she took the umbrella, only for Riku to walk past, effortlessly flipping open his sleek black one. It's raining harder. I'll walk you to the train station. Haruka's cheeks turned pink. She looked between the duck umbrella and Riku's cool, elegant one. Then, with an apologetic smile, she handed the ducks back to me. Sorry. Kenta. Maybe next time. I stood in the hallway, clutching my 3 umbrellas as rain poured outside, watching them walk away together like the perfect couple. Next time, I muttered, shaking my fist at the heavens. Phase 3, failure. But I wasn't done yet. Later, I tried a classic shoujo move, the bento lunch rescue. According to the manga, Haruka once forgot her lunch, and Riku quietly shared his with her. Easy to hijack, right? Except she didn't forget her lunch. In fact, she packed extra. For Kenta, since you always forget, she said sweetly, handing me a neat little box. I stared at it, stunned. Wait. Did I just get a personal bento from the heroine? For a moment, I basked in victory. Maybe the tides were turning. Maybe I wasn't doomed to be background comic relief after all. Then Riku walked by, glanced at Haruka's bento, and said, "That looks good." Without missing a beat, Haruka blushed and offered him a piece with her chopsticks. He ate it. She sparkled. The class swooned. Meanwhile, I sat there chewing my rice ball like a background NPC, invisible except for the word, third wheel, stamped across my forehead. By the end of the day, my strategy notebook had another doodle. Me, drowning in umbrellas, surrounded by hearts labeled Riku plus Haruka. But here's the thing. I wasn't discouraged. Okay. Maybe I was a little discouraged. But deep down, I knew the truth. I was affecting the story. Even if I failed to steal the spotlight, my meddling was accelerating everything. Fine, I thought, flopping dramatically onto my bed that night. If the universe insists I'm the third wheel, then I'll be the fastest, loudest, most chaotic third wheel this manga has ever seen. Cupid with a crowbar. The god of rom-com speedruns. I grinned to myself, staring at the ceiling. Operation Hero Upgrade may be failing. But Operation Romance Accelerator? Oh, it's just getting started. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I wondered, if I kept accelerating everyone else's love stories, would I accidentally stumble into one of my own? If romance manga had a natural predator, it was the rival. Every story had one, the smug, sharp-dressed guy who thought he could buy the heroine's love with charm and arrogance. In Eternal Blossoms, that role belonged to Takumi Kanzaki, rich, handsome, smirks like he invented the word smirk. He wasn't evil exactly, but he was the type who'd block the hallway dramatically just to corner Haruka. And sure enough, on Tuesday morning, he made his grand entrance. The classroom door slid open, sunlight hitting his perfect hair like he'd bribed the weather. Girls squealed. Guys groaned. I choked on my melon bread. "Good morning," Takumi said smoothly, his eyes sweeping the classroom before landing on Haruka. "Aizawa-san, would you accompany me to the library after school?" The girls gasped. Haruka froze. Riku narrowed his eyes. "And me?" I jumped out of my chair like a caffeine-charged squirrel. "Sorry, Kanzaki," I shouted, sliding between him and Haruka like a third-rate bodyguard. "She's already promised to help me with, algebra." The class went silent. Takumi raised an eyebrow. "Algebra," Haruka repeated, tilting her head. "Yes," I declared. "I am tragically failing math, and only Haruka's genius can save me from a life of remedial classes." The class erupted in laughter. Haruka giggled nervously. Takumi's smile faltered. "Is that so?" he drawled. "Then perhaps I should tutor you both. I wouldn't want to deny Aizawa-san's kindness." I blinked. "Wait, what?" "No. Too late." By after school, the 3 of us were in the library, Takumi sitting directly across from Haruka, leaning closer than a centimeter was legally allowed. Riku sat one table over, glaring like a storm cloud. And me? I was stuck in the middle, playing the world's most awkward referee. "Here, Aizawa-san," Takumi said smoothly, sliding his notes toward her. You'll find my methods far easier to understand. Haruka smiled politely. Thank you, Kenzuki-kun, but Kenta asked me for help, so... She turned back to me. Okay, let's start with quadratic equations. My heart swelled. She chose me. Except then she added, I'll explain it slowly, since Kenta can be a little scatterbrained. Ouch. Straight to the pride. Takumi chuckled. Scatterbrained. HM? Suits you. I bristled. Better scatterbrained than smirky. Smirky. Yeah, your face looks like it's auditioning for a toothpaste commercial. The library fell silent. Even Haruka covered her mouth to stifle a laugh. Takumi's smirk twitched dangerously. For a second, I thought he might throttle me with his designer tie. But instead, he leaned back, cool as ever. You're amusing, Saito. Like a pet dog who doesn't realize it's barking at a lion. Did you just call me a dog? Not at all. Dogs are loyal. You're more like a squirrel. A squirrel? Haruka finally intervened, giggling. You two are ridiculous. Let's just study, okay? And somehow in that moment, I realized something terrifying. My interference wasn't just accelerating Haruka and Riku anymore. Now I was dragging Takumi into the chaos too. By the time we left the library, Riku was sulking, Haruka was laughing, Takumi was plotting, and I was starting to suspect my role as comic relief best friend had evolved into something even scarier. Not just a third wheel, but a chaotic force of nature barreling through the story, pulling everyone into a love polygon so messy it would make the author cry. As I flopped into bed that night, I scribbled in my notebook. Phase 4. Villain Management. Current status. Uh-oh. I grinned despite myself. Bring it on, Kanzaki. You may have money, looks and perfect hair, but I have something you'll never understand. Plot armor disguised as slapstick comedy. And somewhere outside my window, I could almost hear the author screaming in frustration. If romance manga had a sacred battleground, it was the school festival. Haunted houses, maid cafes, fortune-telling booths. It was basically a minefield of romantic opportunities. In Eternal Blossoms, the school festival was legendary. Riku and Haruka's first almost kiss happened here. Takumi made his boldest moves here. By the end of it, the heroine's heart was supposed to be halfway locked down. Which meant I had one mission. Sabotage the script. Operation Festival Frenzy, I declared dramatically as the class planned decorations. If this festival is supposed to be a love paradise, I'll turn it into a chaos carnival. Kenta, stop talking to yourself and paint the banner, Haruka said, handing me a brush. Right. Painting. But with sabotage in mind. She gave me a suspicious look. I grinned innocently, already plotting like a Saturday morning cartoon villain. The day of the festival arrived, and the school transformed into a sparkling wonderland. Our class's haunted house drew a massive crowd. The air was thick with roasted sweet potatoes, candied apples, and the smell of teenage hormones. Perfect. According to the manga, Haruka was supposed to visit the haunted house with Riku. He'd protect her from jump scares, she'd cling to his arm, and boom, romantic progress. Takumi was supposed to intercept later with a heroic rescue. But not this time. Not if I had anything to say about it. Haruka, I called, dashing over in my zombie makeup. Come with me. You must test the haunted house before anyone else does. It's tradition. She blinked. Tradition. Yes. An ancient festival law. If you don't, ghosts will haunt your exam scores. That sounds fake. Super real. Come on. Before she could argue, I grabbed her hand and dragged her inside. Victory. I was hijacking the haunted house scene. Or so I thought. Because the moment a fake skeleton popped out, Haruka screamed, and instinctively grabbed the nearest arm. Not mine. Riku's. I froze. Wait. How did he? Don't worry, Riku said calmly, holding her hand. It's just props. My jaw dropped. Somehow, he'd appeared inside at the exact right moment, like the universe had copy-pasted the manga panel back into reality. Meanwhile, Haruka was blushing like crazy. And me? I got tangled in a plastic spiderweb, fell over, and knocked down 2 cardboard gravestones. By the time I stumbled out of the haunted house, The scene had played out exactly as written. Haruka clung to Riku, Takumi stood outside waiting with a bouquet, and I looked like a raccoon that had lost a fight with a roll of duct tape. But I wasn't done yet. Phase 2 of Festival Frenzy. The fortune-telling booth. In the manga, Haruka and Riku got their destined lovers' fortune together. Classic foreshadowing. So, naturally I decided to hijack that too. I disguised myself as the fortune teller, with sunglasses and a wig I found in the drama club room. When Haruka and Riku sat down, I cackled dramatically. "Ooh, I see your future. You will." I leaned closer, lowering my voice. "Marry someone silly and scatterbrained who owns too many umbrellas." Haruka blinked. "That sounds familiar." Riku frowned. "Kenta." I panicked. No. I am Madame Mysterio. Totally not Kenta." Haruka giggled. Riku sighed. My disguise slipped off. The booth collapsed on top of me. By the end of the day, Haruka and Riku were closer than ever. Takumi was sulking because his bouquet got stolen by a goat, long story don't ask, and I was lying face down in cotton candy wondering how everything went wrong again. And yet, as Haruka handed me a stick of candied apples with a smile, I couldn't help but feel a weird warmth in my chest. "Thanks for always making things fun, Kenta," she said softly. My heart skipped. Fun, huh? Maybe that's all I'll ever be to her. But at least, I'm unforgettable. As fireworks lit up the night sky, I scribbled in my notebook. Operation Festival Frenzy equals absolute disaster. But maybe, being the chaos that keeps everyone smiling isn't so bad. Still, I wasn't giving up. "Next time," I muttered, glaring at the stars. "Next time the story is mine." If the school festival was a battleground, then the fireworks show was the final boss fight. Every romance manga worth its salt had won. The heroine, wide-eyed under the shimmering sky, standing beside her destined love. A quiet confession. Maybe even a kiss. It was cliché, predictable, and absolutely unstoppable. Unless of course you were me. "Tonight," I whispered from behind a food stall, gripping my strategy notebook like a holy text, "I break the cycle. Rika's not getting his Starry Night confession scene. Not on my watch." My plan was simple. Keep Haruka distracted. If she never ended up alone with Riku during the fireworks, then the big romantic payoff couldn't happen. Genius, right? So I waited, stalking her like a Romcom ninja, ready to pounce. The night buzzed with excitement. Kids ran around with glow sticks, couples shared takoyaki, the air smelled like fried heaven. Haruka walked through it all, her yukata soft blue, hair pinned up with a little flower clip. I froze. "Whoa," I muttered. "The heroine glow is real." I almost forgot my mission. Almost. "Haruka!" I yelled, sprinting over before Riku could. Perfect timing. "I, need your help winning a goldfish scooping game." She blinked. "Goldfish?" "Yes. It's urgent. A matter of pride. If I don't win, my honor is doomed." She giggled. Okay. Let's go." Phase 1. Success. We spent the next 15 minutes splashing around like idiots. I scooped water onto myself more than the fish. Haruka laughed so hard she had to cover her mouth. By the end, I managed to catch one tiny goldfish, only for it to leap out and land in Riku's cup as he walked by. "Thanks," Riku said flatly, holding the fish. My eye twitched. "Of course." Haruka smiled. "Wow, you're amazing, Kamiyama-kun." Phase 1. Disaster. I wasn't giving up. Phase 2. Fireworks sabotage. The moment the fireworks started, I dragged Haruka to the food stalls. "Quick! We must acquire yakisoba before the lines get too long." "But Kenta, the fireworks. Yakisoba waits for no one." We ended up juggling food, bumping into stalls, and nearly setting a cotton candy machine on fire. Don't ask. Long story. By the time I got the fire extinguisher untangled, Haruka was laughing so hard she had tears in her eyes. "You're unbelievable," she said, holding her stomach. Mission status. Chaotic. But hey, at least she was laughing with me. Then the finale started. The sky exploded with shimmering colors. Haruka gasped, looking up, her face glowing in the light. And right on cue, Riku appeared. Found you, he said, calm as ever. Haruka's eyes widened. Kamiyama-kun. And there it was, the perfect setup. Fireworks, yukata, hero and heroine side by side. The universe itself bending to the manga's will. But not if I had anything to say about it. Look, a UFO. I screamed, pointing at the sky. Both of them jumped. Haruka blinked, confused. Riku gave me the deadliest glare I'd ever seen. The crowd stared at me like I'd lost my mind. And then, because the universe hates me, a paper lantern drifted by at that exact moment, making my UFO point even dumber. The crowd burst into laughter. Haruka giggled. Riku pinched the bridge of his nose. Once again, I'd stolen the scene, only to make myself the joke. As the last firework bloomed overhead, I sat on the grass, watching Haruka laugh with Riku. For the first time, though, I didn't feel completely crushed. Because even if I wasn't the hero, even if my role was just the idiot friend who ruined the mood, Haruka's smile felt real. And for now that was enough. Still, as I scribbled in my notebook later, I couldn't help but add a new line under my Phase 5 notes. Maybe I'm not meant to win Haruka's heart. Maybe my role is to keep it shining. Romance manga had 3 inevitable stages. Meet-cute. Awkward bonding. Confession under emotionally manipulative circumstances. We'd already cleared stages 1 and 2 at record-breaking speed, thanks to yours truly. Which meant stage 3 was approaching like a freight train. And I was standing directly on the tracks. It started on a Monday morning. Haruka called me to the rooftop at lunch. The rooftop, the #1 confession battleground in all of manga history. My stomach sank. Oh no. This is it. She's going to confess to Riku, and I'm the designated witness. But when I got there, it wasn't Riku waiting. It was Haruka. Alone. Kenta, she said softly, fidgeting with her fingers. There's something I want to tell you. My brain blue screened. Wait. Is this a side route? Am I about to break canon? My heart pounded. Maybe all my meddling hadn't been for nothing. Maybe, just maybe. I really like. She looked down, cheeks red. That you're always making me laugh. Boom. Friend zone. Direct hit. I tried to smile through the ache. Heh. Well, that's me. Certified class clown. Before I could wallow, the rooftop door slammed open. Riku strode out. His expression unusually intense. Aizawa, he said firmly. I need to talk to you too. My jaw dropped. Is this a confession duel? Before Haruka could respond, the door banged open again. Enter Takumi Kenzaki, bouquet in hand, smirk at maximum voltage. Aizawa-san, I can't hold back anymore. Please accept my... The scene devolved into chaos instantly. Riku glaring at Takumi. Takumi smirking at Riku. Haruka caught in the middle like a deer in headlights. And me? I was just standing there, somehow still part of the circus. I raised my hands. Okay, time out. Are we seriously doing this? A triple confession showdown? On the rooftop? This is every cliché smashed together like a rom-com smoothie. Stay out of this, Kenta, Riku snapped. Takumi smirked. Yes, this is beyond your level, squirrel. I bristled. First of all, I'm not a squirrel. Second, I refuse to stay out of it. I'm basically the director of this train wreck. The 3 of them ignored me, escalating into a full-blown argument. Students started peeking through the doorway, whispering. The confession rooftop showdown was turning into a school-wide event. Haruka finally burst out. Stop! You're all being ridiculous. The rooftop went silent. I don't know how I feel yet, she admitted, cheeks red. But I do know I don't want you fighting over me like trophies. She looked at Riku. Then Takumi. Then at me. And Kenta. You always make things complicated, but I'm glad you're by my side. The words weren't a love confession, but they hit me harder than any fireworks or umbrella scene. Because for the first time, it felt like I wasn't just the comic relief. I was part of the story. By the end of the day, rumors spread like wildfire. Haruka's got 3 guys after her. It's a love square. Who will win? I lay in bed that night, staring at my ceiling, groaning. Love square? More like a love dumpster fire. My notebook now had a new line scribbled at the bottom. Operation Hero Upgrade equals failure. Operation Romance Accelerator equals out of control. Operation Save Myself equals pending. But deep down, I couldn't stop smiling. Because for all the chaos, all the slapstick disasters, and all the times I made myself the joke, Haruka had chosen to look at me too. And that meant maybe, just maybe, this third wheel wasn't so out of place after all. Every great romance manga had a school trip arc: Kyoto temples, hot springs, yukata strolls under the moonlight. It was basically a 5-star buffet of romantic setups. For Riku and Haruka, it was supposed to be the turning point, the arc that solidified their bond. Which meant for me it was war. Operation Tripwire, I declared, scribbling in my notebook as the bus rumbled down the highway. Objective: prevent hot spring confessions, futon accidents, and moonlight strolls. Strategy: constant interference. Weapon: my unparalleled stupidity. Hey, Kenta, Haruka's voice broke through my plotting. You've been grinning at that notebook for 20 minutes. What are you writing? I slammed it shut. Poetry. She tilted her head. Poetry. Yes. Listen to this. Roses are red, ramen is cheap, my life got ruined by marrying a sheep. What? Never mind. The entire bus laughed. My cheeks burned. But secretly, I thought. Step 1, distract her from Riku. Success. The first disaster struck at the hot spring inn. The teacher separated boys and girls, which should have meant Haruka was safe from romance ambushes. But fate, aka the manga's author, wasn't going to let me off that easy. Because at midnight, there was supposed to be a mixed-up futon scene. Haruka would get lost on the way to the bathroom, trip into the boys' room, and, bam, cue blushing chaos with Riku. Not on my watch. I stationed myself outside the hallway like a sleep-deprived security guard. Every creak, every footstep, I was ready. Sure enough, Haruka emerged, yawning. I leapt into action. Halt! Who goes there? She jumped. Kenta. Why are you crouched like a ninja outside the bathroom? Just, patrolling. You never know when ninjas might strike during school trips. She squinted. At a Kyoto inn? Yes, exactly here. Before she could argue, the door next to us slid open. Riku stepped out, hair slightly messy, expression calm but eyes narrowing at the sight of me and Haruka standing awkwardly in the hall. My brain short-circuited. Oh no. It's happening anyway. Bathroom patrol. I shouted, flailing my arms. Totally innocent, no accidental futon mishaps happening here. Nope, nope, nope. The three of us froze. Then Haruka giggled, covering her mouth. You're so weird, Kenta. Riku sighed, muttering. You're impossible. Mission status: chaotic neutral. The next day was sightseeing. Temples, shrines, the whole Kyoto package. Which meant more cliché setups. Fortune charms, shared ice cream, couples lagging behind the group. I sabotaged relentlessly. When Riku and Haruka reached for the same good luck charm, I shoved in and bought it first. When Takumi tried to share his ice cream, I accidentally knocked it into his perfect hair. When the group walked through the torii gates and Haruka slowed down beside Riku, I launched into an impromptu history lecture so loud the tour guide told me to shut up. By sunset, I was bruised, exhausted, and banned from 3 souvenir shops. But Riku and Haruka hadn't gotten a single private moment. Victory! Or so I thought. Because that night, under the glowing lanterns of the festival street, Haruka tugged at my sleeve. Kenta. Thanks for today. You really do make everything fun. I blinked, startled. Even when I'm ruining everything? She smiled softly. Especially then. My heart skipped. For a moment, I forgot all about Operation Tripwire. All I could think about was Haruka's smile, warm and real in the lantern light. And then Takumi showed up with a fan, Riku glared, and the universe snapped back to chaos. Later, lying in my futon, I scribbled in my notebook. Operation Tripwire equals technically successful? Haruka smiled at me. Not at them. Does that mean I'm not just a third wheel anymore? I stared at the ceiling, grinning like an idiot. Maybe, I whispered, Just maybe, this story isn't as set in stone as I thought. If the school trip arc was the appetizer, the cultural festival was the main course. In romance manga, it was guaranteed drama. Maid cafes, haunted houses, accidental dates, and, of course, the dreaded class play. Our class had chosen the most cursed option of all: Romeo and Juliet. Naturally, Riku was cast as Romeo, Haruka as Juliet, Takumi as Tybalt, and me. The director said I had perfect energy for the nurse. Yes, the nurse. The comic relief role. Again. Why am I always comic relief? I shouted during rehearsals, flapping the oversized apron they'd given me. Because you're funny, Haruka said kindly. That's not a compliment. She tilted her head. It kind of is. Riku, meanwhile, delivered his lines with calm seriousness. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? Boring. I heckled. Try it with jazz hands. Stop interfering, he muttered. Takumi leaned against the wall, smirking. This is delightful. Watching you trip over your own insecurities is the highlight of rehearsal. I jabbed a finger at him. One more word, Kanzaki, and I'm upgrading you from Tybalt to random guy who gets hit by a pigeon. The director had to physically drag me off stage. The day of the festival arrived. The school was alive with stalls, games, and laughter. But my focus was locked on the auditorium, where my doom awaited. Relax, Haruka whispered before the play. She straightened my apron. You'll be great. Something about her touch steadied me. Maybe being the nurse wasn't so bad, as long as I could stand on stage beside her. The curtains rose. Riku entered, spouting Shakespeare. Haruka leaned from the balcony, radiant as Juliet. The audience sighed dreamily. Then I waddled on stage, apron askew, voice shrill. Why, Juliet, thou hast a visitor. The crowd roared with laughter. My cheeks burned. I hadn't meant to play it that funny. But Haruka was smiling at me, and suddenly, I leaned into it. I exaggerated every line, every gesture. I ad-libbed modern slang into Shakespeare. Romeo, don't be sus. Juliet's got drip. The audience was crying with laughter. Even Riku cracked a smile mid-line. But the highlight came during the balcony scene. Romeo was supposed to climb up and kiss Juliet's hand. Instead, the ladder wobbled. He lost his balance. And I, pure reflex, jumped in, catching him before he face-planted. The audience exploded with applause. Riku, red-faced, muttered, "Thanks." "No problem," I whispered back. "That's what third wheels are for." But when I glanced up, Haruka was staring down at me, not at Riku, with an expression I couldn't place. Something warm. Something real. After the curtain call, the class celebrated our best play ever. People clapped me on the back, saying I stole the show. I laughed it off, but inside, my heart was doing backflips. Because for once, I wasn't just the comic relief side character propping up the romance. I was part of the spotlight. That night, as the festival fireworks lit the sky, I scribbled in my notebook. Operation Scene Stealer equals complete success. Audience loves me. Haruka smiled at me. For the first time. Maybe I'm not just a third wheel. Maybe I'm something more. But before I could finish the thought, Takumi appeared beside me, smirking as usual. "You're playing a dangerous game, squirrel," he said quietly, watching the fireworks. "What game?" I asked. "The game of rewriting fate. And trust me, stories don't like to be rewritten." His words sent a chill down my spine. Because for once, Takumi wasn't smirking. He was serious. Dead serious. Romance manga always ended with fireworks. Literally. Festival fireworks. Hero and heroine confess under the glowing sky, share a kiss, and the curtain falls. Roll credits. But this time I was here. And I wasn't about to let fate railroad me into being the eternal sidekick. "Operation Ending Rewrite," I whispered, scribbling in my notebook as the night festival bustled around me. Objective: don't get sidelined. Strategy: reckless improvisation. Risk level: astronomical. I stuffed the notebook in my pocket and looked around. Riku was by the goldfish stall. Takumi was hanging near the masks, probably plotting to swoop in at the perfect moment. And Haruka. Haruka stood at the edge of the crowd, staring up at the lanterns drifting into the night sky. Alone. My feet moved before my brain could. "Hey," I said, breathless. "You look like you're in a painting." She turned, startled, then smiled. "Kenta. You scared me." "Sorry. It's hard not to notice you." Her cheeks flushed slightly. The sounds of the festival seemed to fade, leaving just the two of us under the lantern light. "Everyone's been trying to talk to me tonight," she admitted softly. "But you're the one I wanted to see." My heart stuttered. "And me? Why?" "Because you make me laugh. Because you always ruin the moment, but somehow that makes the moment better. Because, when I'm with you, I don't feel like Juliet waiting for Romeo. I feel like myself." My jaw nearly hit the ground. Was this a confession? A side route finally opening? Before I could answer, the first firework exploded above us. Colors lit her face. She gasped, eyes wide with wonder. And then, of course, the others appeared. Riku strode toward us, expression calm but determined. Takumi sauntered in from the other side, bouquet in hand. "Aizawa," Riku said firmly. "There's something I need to say." Takumi smirked. "Step aside, Romeo. Juliet deserves a better suitor." I groaned. "Oh, come on, guys. Not again." The crowd began to murmur, sensing drama. A circle formed. Fireworks boomed overhead like a drum roll. Haruka froze, caught between three idiots with too many feelings. And I, impulsive, reckless me, made a choice. I grabbed the mic from the festival announcer's booth, don't ask how, and shouted, "Attention, ladies and gentlemen. I, Kenta, humble comic relief, third wheel extraordinaire, have an announcement." The entire festival turned to look. Riku and Takumi both gaped. Haruka covered her mouth in shock. I raised my fist. Romance manga always says the hero gets the girl. That the rival is doomed. That the sidekick is just here to be funny. Well, guess what? Not this time. Laughter rippled through the crowd. But I pressed on. I may not be Romeo. I may not be rich, handsome, or cool. But I swear on all the tropes of shoujo manga, if Haruka ever chooses me, I'll make her laugh every day until we're old and gray. The crowd erupted in cheers and wolf whistles. My face burned, but my chest felt lighter than it ever had. I turned to Haruka, heart pounding. "So, what do you say?" She blinked. The fireworks painted her face red, blue, gold. For a moment, she looked at Riku. Then at Takumi. Then finally, at me. And she smiled. "You really are impossible, Kenta." I braced for rejection. But maybe impossible is exactly what I need. The crowd went wild. Fireworks burst overhead. And for once in my two lives, I wasn't just the third wheel. I was something more. Later, lying in bed, I scribbled the final line in my notebook. Operation ending rewrite equals success. Third wheel? No. Secret main character. And with that, I closed the book on my second life. Ready for whatever chaotic story came next. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more original novel stories. And stay tuned, our next story is coming soon.